Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Elite City Podcast. Today is our All In Texas preview episode. It's just me again. They did another video package about Okada and Omega, so Blasco has walked into the woods, unable to handle it. Obviously, that's not the real reason, but it is just me. So we're going to talk about All In Texas here today, and it's going to be quite the show. I'm talking about All In, of course. The podcast will be fine too. I'm not going to preview every single match because it's just me, and talking that long is not something that anyone wants to experience. But I am going to talk about the big three matches, and that, of course, means the match between Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada, the Women's World Championship between Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné, and the Men's World Championship between Jon Moxley and Hangman Adam Page. Now, I've said a bunch of times that just those three matches would be enough to make this show a must-watch show, in my opinion. You add in the other stuff that they're doing, the two Casino Gauntlet matches, which are going to be great. I mean, those matches are always great. The unpredictability of them, the possibility of surprises, like that's just great matches. I'm not going to predict those because honestly, I can't predict them. I will say one thing I love about this pay-per-view is I don't know what's going to happen. The EVPs match, the Young Bucks versus Swerve and Will Ospreay. Like, I don't know what's going to happen there. I could see them going either way with that match. I could see them choosing to go with Swerve and Ospreay and get rid of the EVP titles and just kind of get rid of them. And they're no longer a storyline thing, which I would really like to see. I think that would be great. But I can also see them having Swerve and Ospreay lose and have them kind of mad at each other, both upset with each other for costing the other person a year of title shots, especially Swerve, who didn't really seem like he wanted to do this at all. And that would keep them out of the title picture so that they could, either go after the new unified title, terrible name, or they could, feud with each other, feud with other people, and others could go after the world title. This show is going to be great, but it's also going to be unpredictable, which I think makes it even better. Like, sometimes it's perfectly fine to be predictable. We've talked about this a lot on this podcast. It's perfectly fine to be predictable and to go with the option that everyone expects. And a lot of the time that makes perfect sense. But it's also really fun to not have any idea about what's going to happen on the show. And there's so many matches that I can't predict. And Blasco, everyone else on the podcast, BDJ, none of us can really predict them that well either. So it's going to be a great show. And I'm really excited for it. And Okada versus Omega is just like, whew. That match is what AEW fans have probably been hoping for a very long time. I don't know about anyone else, but personally, that was one of my first introductions to wrestling outside of WWE. I mean, I obviously knew of WCW. I watched some WCW back in the day. I watched some ECW stuff back in the day. But then there was a long period where there was basically just WWE. There was TNA, which I saw a bit of. There was ROH that I knew existed but never really watched. But one of the first times I started watching something outside of WWE was when Jericho went to New Japan and had that match with Kenny Omega. And that got me to know who Kenny Omega was. And eventually that got me to watch Okada versus Omega's matches. Not live, but I watched them afterwards after hearing the reception that they got after reading about how great they were. And they were some of the best wrestling matches that anyone's ever seen. I mean, there's always the fear that the last time they had a match with each other was, 7 years ago? They're obviously older now. They're obviously have had injuries. Specifically, Omega's had, health problems. So there's the chance that they're not able to deliver at the level that everyone expects them to deliver at the level of match that they've set. The level that they've set is just such a high bar, such an incredibly high bar that honestly I feel like it's going to be nearly impossible to reach that high bar. But it's still going to be a great match. I mean, I have no doubt it's still going to be a great match. And it's an unpredictable match. I think Omega, just based on the way they've built the feud, with Okada, turning heel, joining Don Callis, kind of getting the upper hand at every outcome, at every opportunity. I feel like they're going to go with Kenny Omega to be the unified champion, especially if the rumors are right and they're pitching this as a 1B title, not a mid-card title. I could definitely see it being Okada, though. I could see it going either way. There are rumors that they're thinking of not necessarily merging the titles. Tony Khan said something along the lines of it'll be up to the champion to decide if they want to carry 3 belts. I really hope that they don't carry 3 belts, because as much as I like AEW involving other companies in their stuff, like that Mercedes has other titles and that you'll see New Japan titles on TV sometimes, or titles from other companies on TV sometimes, as much as I think that's cool, we don't need more physical belts. You don't need everyone walking to the ring with 2-3 belts at a time. I love the look of the International Championship. I think it's a great belt. But the unified title looks great too. I don't love the name, but I love the physical belt. And I hope that they kind of just merge those 3 together, and that belt carries the lineage of both previous belts. So I'm going to go with Omega in that one. I think it's going to be a great match. I don't know if it can possibly live up to the hype, but I want to see them try. And I would never count either of these guys out, especially Kenny Omega, on a huge stage. I mean, they're doing this because they know what's expected from them, right? Neither of them are ignorant of what the expectations for this match are. And I feel like they're both very proud of their body of work, and they're both really proud of what they've accomplished as wrestlers. And I really don't think that either of them would be willing to do this match if they didn't think they could do something that would be worthy of their legacy and their history. So I think it's going to be an incredible match, and I can't wait to see it. Another match, obviously, I can't wait to see. All of them I can't wait to see. This card is not only stacked, but like it's been built so well. It feels huge, which is important. I mean, AEW has always had great pay-per-views. They always have great matches. They always have great wrestlers wrestling. But this card feels like the biggest show they've ever done in terms of build, in terms of stories, in terms of the lineup they've put out. And Mercedes versus Toni Storm feels like the biggest women's match that they could possibly do. And it is, and it should be. And it's going to be quite the stage. I think Mercedes is going to win. I could honestly see Toni Storm winning. I could see this being like the downfall of Mercedes. We've talked about this before, how like she hasn't lost a singles match, but she lost a tag match, and then she lost a multi-person match, and she's slowly losing all the things that she has, even though she's accumulating titles. She's, slowly not spiraling, but slowly losing a little bit more every time. So I could definitely see her losing, and that spurring something in it. But I don't think she does. I think Toni Storm drops the title to Mercedes at this point. Toni Storm has had a great run. Toni Storm is super over. I'd love to see what Toni Storm does away from the title for a while. She's basically been in and around the title picture for an incredibly long time, and with cause. Like, I'm not saying that she shouldn't have been. She definitely should have been. But I'd like to see what she does away from the title, just in some other feuds. I do think Mercedes wins. That also makes me think that Athena wins the Casino Gauntlet match. I would like there to be the Casino Gauntlet match to come after the women's title match. I mean, obviously this is the main event level match, and it deserves... I mean, if it closed the show, I wouldn't complain. Neither would I complain if Okada Omega closed the show. But I think Athena might win the Casino Gauntlet, and I think if Athena wins the Casino Gauntlet, it kind of telegraphs that Mercedes will win the match. So if Athena is going to win the Gauntlet and challenge Mercedes for the title eventually, I would like to see the title match come first, but I also fully would expect them to run it like second last or third last, which makes perfect sense. So anyway, Mercedes. I know if that's a long-winded way of saying I think Mercedes is going to win. I've enjoyed this feud. I've enjoyed Toni Storm's promos, obviously. This is the best thing, feud-wise, that Mercedes has done in AEW. And this match is going to be incredible. They're both great wrestlers, obviously. They're both great characters. They're both great with the crowd. And it's going to be an excellent, excellent match. And that brings us to what I think will be our main event. Hangman Page versus Jon Moxley. Texas Death Match for the AEW Men's World Championship. And the build for this, the hype around this, the Death Riders story obviously had its low points. It started off really great with them turning on Danielson and the plastic bag stuff, and that was shocking and incredible. And it started off really hot, and then it kind of got really dull towards the middle when it was just like, oh, the soul of AEW and Moxie's cryptic promos and random stuff. And then around the Copeland time, the match with Cope at Revolution was not good. Obviously, the way it ended was not good. The feeling people had was not good when it ended. But I think that feud really mattered because I think that changed the feud from being about the soul of AEW and I hate this company and I want to make it stronger. That feud kind of changed it from that to about the title. But, Cope wanted the belt. And it being about the title and it being about the title in the briefcase, and that Will Ospreay mentioned it first, I think, that being the one who gets to unlock the title from that briefcase is now a huge accomplishment. Like, it's something that everybody wants. You don't only want to become AEW World Champion, but you want to be the one to bring that belt back. And when it comes out of that briefcase, that's going to be a moment. Will it make all the slow, boring parts of the storyline worthwhile? I don't know, but it might, because it's going to be a moment. And there was a sign on Dynamite. I just want to mention I'm recording this before Collision, so I haven't seen Collision, so I don't know what's going to happen there. But I'm assuming it's not going to be no knock on Collision, but I don't think they're going to drastically change things on Collision. But there was a sign on Dynamite that said, if Hangman loses, we riot. Obviously a callback to Cena wins, we riot. And kind of, yeah. I mean, Hangman has to win. I understand if they want it to be, Darby Allin, and Mox wins, and Darby Allin shows up at the end, or Darby Allin wins the Casino Gauntlet, and he is the one to beat Mox. He kind of started this storyline when Mox took his title shot away from him. So I could see them trying to make it come full circle and have Darby win the title, but Hangman has to win. Like, he just has to. They would wrap it up so nicely. Hangman, his own redemption, coming back from everything he's been through, redeeming himself with Swerve, almost, like, not entirely redeemed, but they're not on the same page, but they were kind of on the same page. I want to talk about that in a minute. But Hangman winning would just be such an incredible moment. If this show ended with 25,000, however many people are in this building, and Hangman opens the briefcase and brings back the AEW Men's World Championship, and the good guys or the faces of the roster, anyone runs out to the ring and holds it up on their shoulders, and there's confetti and fireworks, like, that's an ending. That's what you want to have happen at your biggest show of the year. And there's so many places they could go with this. I mean, we saw on Dynamite, Swerve and Hangman. I mean, they're still not entirely together. They're still missing that moment where they are on the exact same side, because this week, Hangman was getting attacked and Swerve saved him, but not really. Swerve distracted the Young Bucks and the Death Riders with his limo attack, and he quoted a couple things that Hangman said when he burned down his house about vengeance, and I forget the exact line. But he didn't actually save Hangman. He was doing more selfishly. He was doing it to get one up on the Young Bucks. He ended the night, fist bumping Will Ospreay on the ramp, and Hangman kind of glared at him like, what are you doing? This is my quest. This is my journey. This is my redemption. You're not a part of this. You're doing your own thing. And if this show ends with Hangman winning the title, either because Swerve helps him, or at the end, Hangman wins the belt, holds it up high, all the good guys, AEW, whoever, run into the ring, celebrate with them, hold them up on their shoulders, and then remember that time when Bret Hart won the title and off of Yokozuna at WrestleMania 10, and earlier in the night he defeated Owen Hart, and him and Owen still had a feud. And all the faces were celebrating in the ring, and then Owen was just on the outside kind of looking up at him like, I beat you earlier, and now you're celebrating, and I beat you. And I would just love to see all the faces, raise Hangman on their shoulders, celebrate, confetti, fireworks, and Swerve is on the outside just looking at him. And then Swerve finally comes into the ring and, maybe nods to him or fist bumps him or points to the belt and points to him, or, somehow gives him some sort of positive reinforcement that, they've been through a lot. They're probably going to be forever rivals. They are never going to be best buddies, but Hangman is the right guy to win the title. I think everybody knows Hangman is the right guy to win this title. I thought Will Ospreay was going to be this guy. I thought it was going to be Will Ospreay. I thought it should have been Will Ospreay. But the way they did things with Hangman in that match with Ospreay, and since that match with Ospreay, has made it pretty clear that Hangman is the guy. The crowd wants him. The story calls for him to win. There are other ways they could go. Like I said, Darby Allin could do it. They could have a, screw cash in. Whoever wins the Casino Battle Royal could, cash in or something. But I really hope they don't. I hope they just go with, like I said, sometimes predictable's right. Sometimes the storyline is calling for Hangman to win the title, and it looks obvious, and it's not a swerve. It's not a surprise. No pun intended with the swerve thing. It's not a surprise. It's just what you should do. It's how this story should end. It's how this pay-per-view should end, with Hangman Adam Page winning the title. And I hope that they create some doubt over the course of the pay-per-view. I think maybe, the Young Bucks winning or Swerve and Ospreay winning, depending on how they do that match, that could create some doubt. The winner of the Men's Casino Gauntlet could create some doubt, especially if it's a face who wins that match, especially if it is a returning Darby Allin. Imagine Darby Allin returns in that match, wins the Casino Gauntlet, and becomes the number one contender. And then there's that feeling in the back of your mind that, oh, he's going to be the one. Hangman's going to lose, and Darby Allin's going to come out and challenge Moxie at the end of the night and maybe win the title at All In. Maybe they do that. They have him cash in at the end and win it, which I wouldn't like, but they could do that. Or they could say, oh, he's challenging for Forbidden Door. He's challenging for All Out, something like that. That would put that little doubt in the back of your mind that, oh, it's not going to be Hangman. Hangman's going to lose. And then Hangman wins. And then even though Hangman wins and has to face a face, in his next match, someone like Darby Allin, they have to stick this landing because the Death Rider storyline has been messy. And the Young Bucks EVP thing before it has been messy. And AEW is back on track now. It's not messy. It feels good. It feels great. The shows have been awesome. The stories have been awesome. The emotional investment has been awesome. The wrestling has always been awesome. They have to stick this landing. And I think that landing this plane is pretty easy. All they have to do is, hit the runway and do whatever you do to land a plane. I don't know the technical stuff, but they just have to have Hangman win this match, I think. And it'll be an all-timer pay-per-view if that's how it ends. And if that's not how it ends, if Mox wins, it's going to put a damper on it, just like the Revolution was an all-time pay-per-view, and Mox winning put a damper on it. And they tried to save it by having Swerve come out at the end of that. And it kind of saved it, but it didn't really. It still put a damper on it. I mean, Darby Allin coming out at the end could probably try to save it, especially if Darby Allin cashes in at the end and wins. Though Darby Allin cashing in at the end is kind of like a cop-out. He's been gone for a long time. He shows up and wins the belt. Like, yes, he was involved at the beginning, but I think the fans would be upset with that ending, or at least a portion of the fan base would be upset with that ending. Hangman winning the title would make everyone happy. I don't think there's anyone watching AEW right now who doesn't want that to be the ending of this show. And just do it. Just go ahead and have Hangman win the belt. And then you can do whatever you want after that. It doesn't even have to be a long reign. Hangman doesn't have to be a champion for a year. But the moment last year, Danielson winning was the right moment. It was the right thing to do. It was the right way to end this show. And I think Hangman winning is the right way to end All in Texas and set AEW on a path. I mean, continue AEW down this path of just great stories, great characters, great investment, great wrestling. I think that's the right ending. I'm talking about it a lot. I'm repeating myself, but I think that's definitely the right ending. What do you think? Let us know on social media. We're at Elite City Pod everywhere. Blue Sky, Instagram, anywhere else you are, we're there. Not on the bad one, but all the rest of them. We're on YouTube as well. So if no matter where you're listening to us, write a comment if that's an option in the way you're listening, or rate, or share, or thumbs up, or subscribe, or whatever it is that you can do it and let us know. In the comments, or on social media, let us know what you think is going to happen. Who do you think is going to win the main event? Who do you think is going to win all these matches? Because it is a pretty unpredictable card, and it's pretty exciting, and it feels pretty great right now. And just stick this landing, AEW, Tony Khan, just stick this landing, and it'll be an all-time great show. I'm going to enjoy it. I hope all of you enjoy it. We'll be back after All In with our recap and our review of the show. So thanks for listening. It's been a short one today, but we wanted to get something in before All In. So enjoy the show. Have a great time. And we'll see you next time. Later.